Well, welcome to month 6 of the Fresh Start podcast. We are back with you this month. It is February the 1st. We have made it 1 month into 2021, so congratulations. You've done it. You made it a month in. And so, like I said, we are 6 episodes into this podcast we've been doing. The focus of this is for students and student ministry, their parents, anybody who has anything to do with student life. Just talking about different areas of focus and different maybe struggles you're going through, different topics of your life. And this month, with it being February and Valentine's Day coming up very soon, we're going to talk about the topic or the idea of what is love. What is love? We got a good story. We got some good games. We have some advice from some veterans of love in a little bit. So it's going to be a great podcast. We're excited about it. We're going to start off the podcast with a little game that we're going to play. And Alex is going to describe to us exactly what's going on here.
So we all know everybody's favorite Valentine's Day candy to get in elementary school were these cute candy hearts. They're great. Not really. They're honestly in my top 10, probably top 3 least favorite candies I've ever eaten. They taste like you just bit off a piece of chalk. But what they are good for is to play a little game. And that's what we're going to use them for today. We're going to play a game. And the game is going to go something like this. Each of us are going to draw 3 of these candy hearts at random. We don't get a look at them. We'll just stick our hand in the bag, grab 3. And whatever we get is what we get. We will then show you, the audience, what our 3 candy hearts said. So they each have those little words on them that you all know and love. No pun intended there.
Sweet, call me, XOXO, hug me.
Kiss me, all those kind of good stuff. Love you. So you're going to... Yeah, exactly. Seriously, best friend, BFF. So you'll get to, we'll show you these, of what we got, and then the object of this will be in 90 seconds, we will have to come up with our best pickup line that incorporates all 3 of these candy hearts. So our dear friend Matt will do a little time lapse, so you won't have to watch us and sit around trying to come up and rack our brains of what we're going to do. But you'll get to enjoy the fruits of our labor here today as we try to come up with our best pickup lines based on the 3 candy hearts we draw.
All right, so we'll start with Matt first.
Yes.
Matt, pick you some 3 candy hearts here. Are we all going to pick them at the same time?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and pick them all and we can show the camera.
All right, get 3
and give us 90
seconds in there. That was 1.
I'm
Come
going
on,
in.
Bear Paul.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm going in 3 different times.
I'm excited about that first one.
3 different
If you
areas.
draw the same one, then like 2 of them, then you'll just have to use that same one twice somehow.
Oh,
You'd be
man.
like,
Oh, this one hasn't got one on it.
Oh, he's got a blank one.
Make up your own.
Make up your
Oh, is this a free space?
I just got 3.
What is this,
Yeah.
Scrabble?
All right, let's see. Seriously?
This one says "Be mine."
These are all the same. Oh, this is going to be a disaster.
All right, so Matt, what 3 did you get?
I got "Text Me,"
Ooh.
a blank one, and I think "Be mine." I can't
Oh
really
my
tell.
All right, so I have peace, I have nice, and I have love you.
I have totes. I have totes. And I have kiss me.
Oh, God.
Okay, this could be interesting.
I've got you and me, dream, and kiss me.
Hey,
That-
that could be good. This could be good.
Can I turn in one of these totes for something?
Why don't you put it in, get another
I know,
totes?
get another totes. I've never used totes in my life.
The associate pastor over here already trying to
I'm
cheat
already
his way
trying
out.
to cheat the system. So we're back. This has been some of the more stressful
Mine's gonna
120
suck.
seconds that I've ever experienced, probably, because I have 2 words of the same that I've never used before in my life. I'm not really sure how to incorporate them in a pickup line.
I think it's totes awesome.
But we'll start with Matt.
Mine, I'm got this blank one, which is weird.
You got a free space.
I got a free space, and
Alex has 28 missed calls. That
Alex.
really bothers me.
it really bothers me.
Nobody was supposed to see that.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna take the starting point of what Zach said in the middle of all this and start it off with "Hey Cutie."
It's mine.
You can still use it,
All right.
but
Let's see it. Let's hear it.
this is gonna be lame.
We would expect
but-
nothing less.
He is right. It's fine. You got a girlfriend, though, so you're doing something right.
That's wrong. But I'm just gonna say
All right.
Just basically, mine is, hey, cutie, text me because I want you to be mine.
Ooh, woo, woo. Put that on a
That's
card.
slick.
Sweet, to the point.
To the
Yeah,
point.
You
to
got
the
to
point.
wink when you're done with that one.
Hey, winked.
All right, who's next?
All right, I'll go ahead and go. So we're going to preface this with, we're going to pretend, we're going to take you back like 7 years and pretend this is me talking to Kirsty for the first time. This is not indeed how this happened, but if it were, it would
These
go
don't taste
something
good.
like this. Like,
These things
hey,
suck.
Kirsty, I've really been just praying for some world peace, and I thought it would be nice if it started out by loving you.
Oh, God.
That happened.
It just did.
I'm ready for
Not in
mine.
real life.
I'm still mulling mine over. So I'm gonna let you go.
All right, I'm just going to remind everybody what I have.
Oh gosh.
I have Kiss Me, Dream, and You and Me. All right. So if I were to go with this, it would be something like, hey, babe, I had a dream last night about you and me. I might look like a frog, but if you kiss me, I'll be your Prince Charming.
Oh, shoot. Okay, Zach.
Boom!
All right, Ryan, what you got?
So mine again, for the listeners at home who forgot. I have totes ×2 and kiss me. So this is going to be interesting. I still have no idea what I'm about to say as we're diving into this. So you probably have a lot of guys who are like, your dress is totes adorable. And your hair. It's I have no idea how to use totes in a sentence. No man will ever say this. So I mean, like, literally, Urban Dictionary said this is a term used by middle school girls. So why would you ever use this in a pickup line? This is a terrible game. I fail. Kiss me.
Oh,
Dang.
How do you use
Okay.
totes? I don't know.
Wow.
You can tell the pickup line was not.
it was not
It
there.
wasn't there.
No.
Not at
No.
all.
That's not how he wooed Rebecca. It was not a pickup
It
line
was
that
not.
used totes.
And it was not with these.
I was all for it. I was there with you.
It was not with candy hearts either, because that's about the
We know
worst
it's all
tasting
those.
thing.
Oh, you dropped it. Come on, Alex.
I was committed with you.
The only thing worse than this was the one chip challenge.
That was pretty bad.
That was about the worst tasting part. So we had some decent pickup lines. We had some that didn't even get off the ground.
And then we had Matt's.
Then we had
It
mine.
was just kind of there.
It was just there.
Maybe we got some
Lame, like I
veterans who
said.
just really, can play the field. So
Maybe they
drop
should come
your-
up with their own.
Yeah, drop your best pickup line in the comments. We wanna see what you got. We wanna see what our audience and listeners have. But we're gonna move on from that train wreck that I just gave. That was totes not good. So we're gonna move on to Valentine's around the world. So we are 13 days from Valentine's Day here. But all around the world, they celebrate in different ways in different years. So we're going to pass these out just randomly. Who knows who gets what. And we're going to read to you, in no particular order, kind of how it's celebrated in different parts of the world. And so we'll start with Zach. Zach, pick one and tell us a little bit about that area and what they do for Valentine's Day.
Well, I got Slovenia. And the people of Slovenia celebrate Valentine's just like this. It is believed that on February 14th, plants start to regenerate as this day marks the first day of working in the fields for the new year. Children, you have it good here. There is a belief that birds propose to each other on this day. That's totes awesome. And in order to witness this, one must walk barefoot through fields that are often still frozen.
That sounds horrible. Slovenia, you do not celebrate well. All right, Alex, you want to...
All right. In the good old country of Wales, I would do a Walish accent, but I don't fully know how those sound. Maybe British or Irish or something. I probably just offended the whole country of Wales by saying that,
all
but
of our well listeners out there.
I apologize. All right, so celebrate on January 25th, which for us, that's today, but for you listening, that was a few days ago, but, whatever. But anyway, it is known as the Day of San... Dwinwin. I don't know. I don't know. I don't speak Walish, so...
Don't know how to pronounce
It says lovers exchange unique and beautifully handcrafted wooden spoons. Now, I know all you ladies out there, exactly what you want for Valentine's Day is a handcrafted wooden spoon. If that's what you want, you need to find you a Walish man because he'll get you that wooden spoon on the 25th of January.
That is a water boy type.
Yeah.
A wooden spoon. All right. Fellas, if you get your girl a wooden spoon,
Make sure she knows how to cook.
it will not go over well. All right. So I have Romania on February the 24th. It is a day when young couples get engaged. It's a mix of Valentine's Day and the first day of spring, and young men and women go to the forest and pick colorful flowers. Some couples wash their face with snow as a sign of good luck. Slovenia and Romania, they got some weird outdoor nature things going on. Matt, what you got?
I got the Philippines, and on Valentine's Day is the time when many young couples marry in an event sponsored by the government as a form of public service.
Romantic.
Dang.
Your love is a form of public service to your country.
Hey, all you high schoolers out there, I guess if you need some service hours,
Yeah.
just hop on over to the Philippines and find you a wife and get some service hours.
If you're too cheap to pay, it sounds like the government's handling it for you. So.
Sounds like America. All right. So the Spaniards. Old Spain's next. There's some big words in here. We're going to work with it. So on October 9th, is the feast of Saint Dionysius.
Dionysius?
Yeah. Dionysius. I don't know what
Teamwork makes the dream work.
I don't know what kind of food he likes, but they have that. And then they give their companion marzipan figurines.
I looked it up.
And we
'cause
still
I
don't
didn't
know what
that
it is.
was. It was some kind of cookie type thing. I don't really know. But the picture was like a little frog and like a koala bear. It was weird.
Hey, I'm all for it.
But there you go. Matt, what you got next?
I got South Korea, and this is many different days that go through different months. And it says celebrates on the 14th day of each month. Examples, on the May 14th is a day of roses. On June 14th is a day of kisses. On December 14th is a day of hugs. And in April, single people celebrate the Black Day where they eat black noodles.
So if we don't do well in America on February the 14th and your loved one breaks up with you because all you got her was conversation hearts, then
Or wooden
Or
spoons.
wooden
or wooden
spoons.
spoons, then in April you can join our South Korean brethren and eat you some black noodles on a single day. All right, what you got?
All right, France. Here we go. Valentine's Day is celebrated between February 12th and the 14th, so similar to us. They celebrate by decorating their yards, trees, and homes with cards and roses. So what I'm getting out of this is like the sexy version of toilet paper in people's yards.
Yeah.
You just do it with roses and cards
That's
instead.
All right, so the last one here, Southwest China. They celebrate it on March 15th, and it's called the Sisters' Meal. Kind of weird. Don't know what kind of backwoods Alabama stuff we got going on in China, but you got the Sisters' Meal on March 15th. It's where women wear silver accessories and beautiful dresses, and then the women cook dishes of colored rice and offer it on silk fabric to young men. And if the young men open this silk fabric and they receive 2 chopsticks, then that means love. But if they receive a clove of garlic, it means that love is over before it's even begun.
Sounds like a good fortune cookie right
It's
there.
like- that's what they're
Or a
doing
sad
in West
one.
China. They're basically giving you fortune cookies wrapped in silk of love. Or
Not
not
love.
love. That's
That
what you're
rice
getting.
better be good if I get garlic.
That sounds like some hibachi waiting
Yeah.
to happen. Right there. That's how hibachi was actually invented, boys and girls, if you didn't know.
It's their garlic silk.
Garlic silk.
I'm going to order Mings and get garlic. Like, no, I wasn't even trying.
There we go. Wasn't even trying for it. So we're, I don't know, a few minutes into this thing. We've had some rise and fall of some pickup lines. We've seen Valentines around the world. Now we're going to cut to some of the veterans of love. Some of our people who have been in relationships a lot longer than the ones represented at this table, as they are going to give you some advice on love or marriage or anything that has to do with relationships. So here are some veterans of love advice.
Hey, this is Dan Sherry Miller. Been married 43 years. Pretty lucky, ain't she? I just want to tell you that we won't just take a second and think about what makes a marriage last that long. Well, having the best husband don't hurt. Best wife. But the truth of the matter is that when we think about it, did you realize that in the beginning that Sherry and I, the Bible says we were joined together? You know, just because she's Sherry Miller doesn't mean she's has left the identity of Sherry Caldwell that was a woman I married there, and a person. So it's important to understand in marriage that the difference between what you are is that you never want to take this. Let's say it's a chain that's been put together and there's two links in that chain. Never at any time during this marriage do I have the right or the privilege or anything. The Bible doesn't give me that. It tells me that I'm to be equally yoked, but it also says that I'm to be the person to take care of her. But I'm not supposed to cover her up. Did you know if you took those two links and put them together, it would cover up one of the links? So it's important that you realize that Sherry needs to be the godly woman that God's called her to be Christian that God's called her to be, and I'm to be the same way. And my link is supposed to grow. You see, what happens is the links get stronger. So what I want to share with you, let's say you're in a friendship, a relationship, or dating relationship. It's important that you realize that this person doesn't have the right to take away your identity. This person can't cover up who you are. He must also realize who you are in Christ. So you need to identify that, and you need to understand that. You know, Sherry and I have been like anybody. We've lost loved ones. We've lost all kinds of things. You know, I'm the one. You know, she gave me this cup right here. You see this cup right here? I tried. What does it say? I tried to retire, but now I'm working for my wife. That's it, but I mean, that's what happens to you. Just be realized, 43 years. I'm giving her 50. We may go longer, but I figure if I get to 50, that's pretty doggone good. But we just want to thank y'all. Have a privilege to tell you, really, it's about the commitment. When I said I do, and God said we were joined together, then that commitment has to be stayed together, and we have to work on that every day. Sherry harder than I, of course, but that's just part of the story.
Hey, I'm Danny,
I'm Brenda.
and we've been married 45 years.
No, darling, 44.
Seems like 45.
Well,
Anyway.
maybe seems like longer.
But we're going to give you some keys and some ideas to what it takes to be married this long, 44 years plus. I think really, you were going to start. What were you going to say?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah,
You were
you-
going to talk, and I was just going to jump in. I can't
Okay.
read your writing.
What are we going to say? I don't know what I want to say. You're going to edit this, right? Right.
Yes, it'll be edited.
Okay, yeah,
talking.
I can do anything I want to. I think if I were looking back at our relationship, and I'm not saying we did all these things and did them all right, but my advice, first of all, is to have a relationship with Jesus Christ. You need that personal relationship, and in so doing, you need to carry that relationship into the person that you have a relationship with, like a marriage or a dating or whatever. They also need a relationship with Jesus Christ. So your marriage or your relationships together should be founded on a relationship with Jesus. So that is the foundation for a good marriage, foundation for a good relationship. What do you say?
Well, if you're a teenager and you're out looking for someone, you don't have to necessarily just date everybody that comes along. You can have a relationship with someone and just have a conversation, casually talk, be out in groups together. Don't ever find yourself in a situation where something might come up where you might do something that you wouldn't need to do or anything like that. And stick true to yourself and stick true to what God's plan has for y'all.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, you need to look at any relationship that you're entering into as a potential marriage somewhere down the road, because if they're not the kind that you want to be married to and you don't know anything about them, then you're probably better off staying away and finding that person that God has for you. That would be my recommendation.
And make sure that you have some like things, like
What-
things,
Like
like
what?
things you like to do together, like
Let me think.
like a hobby or you know.
Yeah,
make
like
sure you-
baseball and football and stuff like that.
Yeah, that helps.
She likes knitting and things like that. But,
I don't knit,
but
crochet.
I think really there is when you get in a marriage relationship, I think it's really tough, you guys, because this is what Jesus instructed Paul. Paul instructed in Ephesus, I believe it was, to the letter he wrote to Ephesus, and He said that husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Now that's strong words. So the question is, how did Christ love the church? Christ loved the church enough that he gave his life on the cross for it. So there's a lot demanded out of us in this love relationship. Love is a verb in this case, and it means to do something. It's not just a feeling. Feelings come and go, but love is doing something. So there is a demand on us guys. There's a demand on the women too, but I'm speaking primarily to you guys right now.
Girls, your husbands are to be the head of the household. That doesn't mean that he can get everything he wants or be demanding or anything like that. You can have conversations and talk about things. Communication is a very big key in staying married. You can have an argument, and you can get over an argument.
And don't let the sun go down on your wrath. I believe that's something James said. Be real quick to say I'm sorry, and be real quick to say, will you forgive me? I think that's some of the keys to a long-lasting relationship. Don't carry that anger and those hard feelings to bed and go to sleep on them. Clear the air and wake up fresh in the mornings. That's one of my recommendations. What do you say?
And that works both ways. I mean, you can say, I'm sorry. You can say, I forgive you. Give yourself some time apart to think about your argument, and then maybe come back together and discuss it and clear the air and get through it that way.
I think it's possible to have a long-term relationship, even in the climate that we live in this day and time, where there's a lot of anger and fear and distrust and all those things. I think it boils down to this. If you get into a relationship and you're considering marriage, it's a matter of being committed. We entered our marriage relationship with the intent of staying married. Divorce was never an option. We never even considered the possibility of divorce. When God puts somebody together, he puts somebody into your life, and you enter into that marriage agreement, then it's a vow before God, and God holds you to that, I believe. And for us, divorce was never mentioned. It's never been an option. So it's a matter of staying committed, being committed to one another, and being committed to Jesus Christ. I think those are the keys to a long marriage. And hopefully we can have maybe 45 more years, huh?
After we get to the first 45.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Mike Thrower. Frances is my wife. We've been married 50 years, 4 months, and 3 days as of the making of this video. And I'd like to talk to you about the basis of marriage. You'll get a lot of advice about how to live as a married individual, but I want you to understand that marriage is truly a commitment that you make. It's not a ceremony. It's not a piece of paper from the state. It's a decision that you make to love someone and care for them in the good days and in the bad days, when all is well and when all isn't. And when you stand before the Lord God, you make a vow, and that vow is to love, to care for that individual. When you make a vow before the Lord, you need to keep that vow. If you'll remember this as you contemplate marriage, I think you'll have a better marriage. Thank you.
My name is Clay Hallmark. My wife's name is Leslie. Leslie and I have been married now for 32 years, which in today's world is a really, really long time. And the reason that our relationship works so well is because I've learned to do everything she says she wants me to do. Okay, that's really not true. But one of the things that really makes a difference in a relationship from the time you're a teenager even to the time you're an old dude like me is communication. You see, we need to be people of communication. I think God wants us to be people of communication, and communication is one of the vital things that we've got to do in any kind of relationship. You've got to be able to open up and tell people who you are and what you believe and things that you like and things that you don't like, and you've got to be honest in your communication. One of the biggest problems we have nowadays is because of social media. We don't know how to communicate. We send little character text and we communicate in little snippets of who and what we are, and we filter all of that. Relationships aren't built on filters. Relationships are built on truth and communication. So I would encourage you to be really honest and really truthful to people who are around you in any kind of relationship, especially if you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And the other thing I would say to you is this. It's great to have a boyfriend. It's great to have a girlfriend. But don't put all of your relationship value in that other person. Because that other person doesn't identify you and who you are. You're identified by God and who He says you are. Don't let that other person identify who you are and what you are to believe and how you see yourself and how you view yourself. Their view of you is not necessarily God's view of you. You need to only be concerned with what God views you by and what He sees you by and what He thinks of you. Stop trying to please that other person. And spend lots of time in relationship with other people. Don't be exclusive to just this boyfriend or this girlfriend. Spend time with your other friends. Be real with them. Be real with one another. And what you'll find out is over time, God will help develop who you are and make you into the person He wants you to be. And in time, He will bring into your life the very person that He's created for you for a lifetime. So don't be in a big hurry. Be patient. Be truthful. Let God define you and communicate with other people. All right? Thank you, guys.
So we're thankful for all the ones who gave their input, gave their advice, whether funny or serious, on this idea of veterans of love and their advice. And we hopefully can take some of that advice and have relationships as long as some of the ones in the video have had, because some of them, they've been together a real long time. So thank you for all the ones who took some time to give us advice. So we are now going to transition into a story. It might be a little bit different story when you're thinking about the idea of love, but it is the story of Samson and Delilah from the book of Judges. Now, out of my quiet time through the last week or so, I came across this story as I was thinking about what we were going to do when it comes to the idea of what is love. And I thought, you know what? The lengths that Samson goes to appease Delilah in that toxic relationship, there's a lot of ways that teenagers go through love, and the way that maybe I experienced love as a teenager, because it doesn't make sense. You're through the whole story reading in Judges 16 thinking, Samson, what are you doing? How foolish can you be? But then if we were to be honest, and if we were to look back at maybe some of our love mistakes, or maybe some of the mistakes you're making right now, you might be thinking, man, I'm pretty crazy. So here's the story. So you got this man, Samson, who is got power and strength unlike anything that's ever seen. He's got a vow his mom made before he was born before the Lord. If his hair wasn't cut, he's gonna be unlike anybody's ever seen. And he's got this great strength. I mean, he kills a whole bunch of men with the jawbone of a donkey. He lights some tails of some foxes on fire and kills a whole bunch of people. He's like the biblical version of Hercules. Like, he just goes and does things that you wouldn't even imagine. Then he makes the grave mistake of falling in love with a girl named Delilah. And Delilah, she's not in it for the love, she's in it for the money. So she sold her allegiances to a different group of people, the Philistines, who are wanting Samson killed because he's killing them in the groups of thousands. And so 3 times Delilah has came to Samson and said, where do you get your strength from? And Samson has given her wrong reasons of how he receives his strength. And she each time comes back and was like, why did you lie to me? Why did you do these things? She does what only a woman can, and she is clearly in the wrong, and somehow it's the man's fault that he lied to her on how she could kill him. And she's failed 3 times, and she's gravely upset in this. And so I love how the Bible is just really straight to the point. And so we're going to read how now this is the 3rd time that Samson has told her wrong on where he gets his strength from. And this is also the 3rd time that Delilah has tried to have him killed. And this is Delilah's response in this idea of what is love. This is found in Judges 16, verse 15, if you want to look it up for yourself. It says, and this is Delilah speaking. How can you say I love you, she told him, when your heart is not with me? Sounds like you tried to kill me, but this is the 3rd time you have mocked me and not told me what makes your strength so great. In verse 16, this is a beautiful picture. Because she nagged him day after day and pleaded with him until she wore him out. Remember, this is a guy who receives godlike strength, who killed a man with 1,000 donkeys, but he was able to be nagged out of this. He told her the whole truth and said to her, my hair has never been cut because I am a Nazirite to God from birth. If I am shaved, my strength will leave me, and I will become weak and be like any other man. So when Delilah realized that he had told her the whole truth, she sent this message to the Philistine leaders. "Come one more time, for he has told me the whole truth." The Philistine leaders came to her and brought the money with them. Then she let him, that being Samson, fall asleep on her lap and called a man to shave off the 7 braids on his head. In this way, she made him helpless, and his strength left him. Then she cried, "Samson, the Philistines are here." And when he woke up from his sleep, he said, "I will escape as I did before and shake myself free." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. So we're going to see 4 quick things in this idea of what is love. And the first thing we see is the lies disguised as love. The lies disguised as love. All throughout, middle school, high school, you think you know what love is, but really what you know is selfishness. That's at least my experience whenever I went through it myself, or when I look at students and their relationships. Really, a good relationship is built on truth. It's built on the foundation of being transparent with one another, on being honest with one another. And no part in this story do we see truth prevail. We see that Delilah is constantly lying to Samson because she doesn't actually care about him, but she wants to promote her own agenda. She wants money. We see that Samson doesn't trust Delilah, so he lies to her. And so this whole story, you're kind of portrayed to it in the Bible like this is a story of love. And we can see that if lies have to be present, love isn't present. And so if you're in a relationship like that where you feel like, man, I can't trust the other person, I've been in relationships like that. I don't tell the other person I'm with things that I don't want the whole world to know because they can't keep their mouth shut or whatever. Or you feel like if you tell them, they'll tell other people, or you don't feel like you can trust them. Man, that's not a relationship love. That is a lie disguised as love. And we can see this all throughout Scripture. It's a great picture here in the story of Samson and Delilah. This idea of a lie, but it's disguised as love. And the world, man, it disguises lies for love all the time. The world will tell you, well, if you do this, then you'll receive love, or if you do that, you'll receive love. Guys will tell girls, if you're sitting out there, that if you will do certain things from them, then that's actually how you love them. Or if you don't send them a picture, if you don't do something, then you don't truly love them. Man, that's not love. That's a lie. That's a lie that boy's telling you. He don't care about you, because if he ever gave you that ultimatum, then that's not true love. That's a lie given to you. And so, fellas, if that's you, man, stop it, because you're just lying to yourself. You're lying to the girl. And girls, don't listen to those lies. Boys will tell you whatever they want you to hear to get what they want. And that happened in this story with Samson and Delilah. And sadly, when love's not present, lies are. Lies disguised as love. The second thing we see is the lust disguised as love.
So if we back up a few lines in verse 4, we see that Samson, the Bible tells us something about him. It says, and after this, which there was a previous event that happened, that Samson loved another woman named Delilah. But what we understand about that love is that's not a deeply rooted and understanding love. That was a love that kind of meant to see after someone, or to lust after someone, or to have passions for someone rather than true love. And I think the reality is for people in our culture, teenagers in our culture, that is the kind of love that they are experiencing. It's like what Ryan said. It's a lie. It's really ultimately lust is what it is. You are looking for something to fulfill the passions and feelings that you suddenly have. You go through, you begin mature and go through puberty, and all of a sudden you start noticing people of the other gender, another sex, and you were just like looking at them like, man, that is a good looking woman, or man, that is a good looking guy. And we understand that that's exactly what Samson was going through here, is that he was looking at this woman realizing, man, whatever I'm feeling inside, that must be love, and that's what he chased. Whereas we ultimately know that the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians what love is. Love is patient, it's kind, it's everlasting, it's enduring, it believes all things. And I don't think that's probably what was running through Samson's mind. And oftentimes I think that's probably not, if we're honest, it's not what is running through our mind. I know Kirsty and I have had several talks about when we first started dating, our thoughts about who the other person was. And I can tell you right now, at 16 years old, the first time I saw Kirsty, my first thought was not, man, I bet she is patient. I think I like this girl because she's kind, or she's got a lot of grace to give, or that she's going to believe me, or I can believe her and everything. No, if we're being honest, that's probably not what it was. Much like most students, if you're listening to this, if you were a guy, you probably looked at that girl and said, dang, she's hot. Like, I want to, exactly.
I totes like her.
Yeah, seriously, that could have been it.
If you're a guy and you thought totes, that's a different podcast.
Yeah, we had another podcast for that one. But we realized that that's probably the main reality. If your first thought is, man, her booty looks good in those yoga pants, that's probably not love either. That is probably falls under the category of lust. And I want to encourage you that whether you are a guy or a girl, whatever, wherever you find yourself at right now, when you begin to have feelings for the other sex, whether it's a guy or a girl, we want to encourage you that maybe take a break, step back, and really evaluate who this person is before you choose to just jump into a relationship. I'm getting stares from all sides right now because I combined some words that they have found funny. But anyway,
the truth is there, though.
Yes,
the truth is found in this statement.
I've got to follow this.
Yeah.
But as we think about this, I want to conclude here by something very similar to what Ryan said, is that if we're being real, guys, for a second, when we see another woman and when we see a young lady and we are extremely attracted to each other, the first thought in our minds, if it is how attractive she is, or the things that she can do for me, or the ways that I can feel because of that relationship, that's probably not what you want to jump into. You want to step back and really evaluate, what does it mean to love someone? Am I ready to truly put my all into a relationship to love them? Because ultimately we believe as Christians that loving someone should turn into marriage hopefully one day. And that's the thing that has to be in the back of your mind. And if you are a young lady out there listening, the same goes for you. When you see that guy, when he is telling you all of these, sending you these cute texts and Snapchats about how beautiful you are and how good looking you are and all this stuff, just step back for a second and try to think, is this guy really interested in a true relationship with true love, with its intentions, or is he just trying to get something out of me? So I think if we are not careful, we can fall into what Samson did and have love that is disguised as lust.
So we've seen the lies and the lust that have been disguised as love, but we also see the lengths you'll go for love.
When I was kind of thinking about this and just thinking to both of you guys talk, I mean, they both of what y'all said intertwines so perfectly together. And when I think about the links that we go to love, so many times we don't go to the Bible to see what the links that love should go to. We go to Hollywood, or we go to like a New York Times bestseller, or we go to music. And so many times we get the picture twisted, and we want, Tom Cruise saying, you complete me, or, Ted Mosby holding up the blue French horn saying, I love you on the first date, or
Greatest love story.
Man, yeah. Lanco can't even write that. Or you think about Corey and Topanga and Boy Meets World, and you're like, man, like that is love. And then you realize that it's not. That's just like, that's lust, or that's a lie. And my Bible tells me that for God so loved the world that he gave his son. So with that being said, if we want to love like God loves, which is the ultimate picture, because, we should love as Christ loved the church, which is what we're commanded to. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church. Well, if we're going to go to the Bible and it says that for God so loved the world that he gave, so what did he give? Well, Jesus gave his life for the church. And so the lengths that our love should go as guys or as girls is not, Alex, like you said, to get something out of it, or Ryan, like you said, a lie that's intertwined with it for our own selfish desires. No, it's a love that, man, I'm as a husband, I'm willing to lay my life down, to protect my family, or as a wife, the same aspect of it. And if I could just piggyback off of what both of y'all said, and we talked about this in Sunday school last week, and I love how this just kind of goes together. So many times we have guys and we have girls that will give a piece of their heart to the person that they're dating. And it's like I told the guys on Sunday, I said, look, I hate to be Johnny Raincloud, but the girl that you're dating is probably not going to be your wife. And like shocker, like we're going to get you counseling if you need it. Like, I'm so sorry, you know, your TikTok profile is going to be, you know, deleted one day, like all these things. But if that girl is not the woman you're dating, well, one day that's going to, or if that girl that you're dating is not going to be your wife, one day she's going to be someone's wife. She's going to be someone's mother. Right now, she's someone's daughter. And the way that you're treating her, the way that you're respecting her, you should want that in return from the guy that's dating your future wife right now. So with the love that you think you have for her, if it's true love, if it is, not all love ends in marriage. It just doesn't. But if you love her, then you should love her enough to respect her so that her future husband one day doesn't have to pick up the pieces that you broke. And that's one of the lengths that love goes to, is respect. So, we should get our source of love from the Bible instead of Hollywood to see the true lengths that love goes.
Yeah. And even if you're one of the, you know, small percentages of teenage relationships that do work, like Alex and Kirsty, if you did protect yourself and saved yourself and did these good practices, then you are laying a foundation for your future marriage that will start off on good foundations and not one that has been founded on all of these wrong principles and things that you failed in, and then when you jump into marriage, you have all this baggage of your own relationship you've already had that you've accrued and gotten over the course of many years. So we see the lies and the lust disguised. We see the lengths you'll go. Matt's going to close us out with the Lord of the true love.
Looking at the story and looking at Samson, we all fall up under the same thing that he falls up under is, and you got to do this one thing or have this one thing to feel like you got to be loved by other people or to feel like you got to be loved by God. He felt like he would be weak without no strength or anything coming from if his hair got shaved, if his head gets shaved, or if his facial hair, what he was talking about in the story. But at the end of the day, we don't have to have those things to know that we have true power from God. You know, the true power from God is the only thing that we need. We shouldn't have to have, like, to get love from other people, we shouldn't have to have a certain kind of hairstyle or wear a certain thing or act a certain way. But with God, which is the only love that we should look for in life, is he loves us no matter what we wear, no matter how, you know, if we try to put on a mask for certain people around different people in different people groups, you know, we put on these masks and everything else whenever we don't have to. But whenever God sees us in our quiet time, or even times whenever we're around people, he sees us for what we are, and he sees us for we don't have to act a certain way, and we have true power from him. And that's what Samson didn't realize whenever he, you know, thought he needed this hair on his head or this facial hair to have true power from God. He didn't need that. He, you know, had true power from God no matter what he had, no matter what he wore or how he acted.
Yeah, you know, so God can leave us sometimes, and I think we can fake it till we make it enough that we might not notice it. But I don't know how you have your head shaved, you never had it cut, and they shave your head and you wake up and don't realize, hey, my hair's not here anymore. Somehow that happened. But yeah, he had become so focused on one thing, and the verse that really jumps out is at the very end. It says, he did not know that the Lord had left him, which is, I think, the most tragic thing in that story. The hair was just a sign of the covenant, but God is where he got his power from, and he just missed that. And so if you're watching, if you're listening, true love, like Matt said, comes from the Lord. It comes from, like Zach said, we see in John 3 that God loved you enough, he sent his son Jesus for you. So if you're trying to get your love meter or your love bucket filled with the things of this world, it's going to leave you empty. And truly, God is the only one. If you want to love a guy or a girl to the best of your ability, we see in the Bible, we love because he first loved us. And so if we're not being filled up by God's love, we're not going to be able to fill up others through his love. So that is the podcast up to this point. We always close out with some questions, and this month I just thought it would be kind of interesting. Who knows how this is going to go? It could be a train wreck, but I think it'd be pretty funny. We're going to do some on-the-spot Valentine's-type questions. So none of us know the questions that are about to come, except the asker, me, or Alex when it comes to me. And so we're just going to see. And so my first question is going to be to Matt, and it's going to be amazing. And And so, Matt, my first Valentine's type question to you was, how uncomfortable was your first kiss?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
An explanation would be good too, I guess.
I'd love to have been a fly on the wall.
1 to 10. 10 being the most uncomfortable.
Probably about an 8.5.
So it was
Whoa.
highly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I can get behind
Just the first time, it's uncomfortable for every.
I said, can we get some context?
Okay.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable.
We don't need any other explanation. I regret I asked it. Okay. All right. So we'll jump to Alex next, and then we'll let Alex ask me my question. No, we'll let me ask Zach, and then I'll finish.
Yeah,
I'll finish
I
on
like
the.
that.
So Alex, what is the worst Valentine gift that you have ever given or received?
Dang. All right, so I'm trying to think. I don't think I've had any like specific, relationship type bad gift that I think I gave or received since I've really only dated 2 people. But the one thing that
Kirsty,
does come,
he knows you're watching.
Yeah.
Kirsty bought me a sweater and I hated it.
it was so ugly. That box of chocolate. No. The one thing that does come to mind is in 4th grade, we had those like really uncomfortable Valentine's Day parties where everybody was required to buy a card for everybody, and you had the little like shoe box or tissue box or something for everyone to go around. And there was this one particular girl, couldn't remember or tell you what her name was, but she put one of those little Valentine's Day cards in there, and I opened up the box, I opened up the card, and on it said, "Will you date me?" Or no, sorry, "Will you be my boyfriend? Yes or no?"
Ooh, George Strait time.
Circle one. So like one of those just like, elementary school deals. And my 4th grade mind of me just, what is the thing I can do to get out of this situation because I don't want to deal with it ever again. I just went ahead and circled "or" and gave it back to her, and that she never talked to me again. So that was probably the
She's
worst
probably
gift.
listening right
Smooth.
Was a card that I
You
didn't
broke
want to
her
answer.
now. Check yes or no. Or. George Strait didn't write about that.
All right, Zach.
Oh, no.
What is the worst date you have ever been on? And why was it the worst date?
Oh, that's so bad.
You don't have to use names, just to clarify.
All right. So I picked this girl up, and everyone's going to learn my secret. Well, you can't really do it now that COVID's happening because movie theaters aren't open much anymore. But I would always, based on how dinner went, we would either go like to a movie. So if dinner was bad, we're going movie, so I don't have to talk to you.
So ladies, if you're watching take to a movie and you're out, just go ahead and go home.
If dinner's good, we're gonna go do something interactive like putt-putt or bowling or something.
Where you can talk to her.
You can talk to her, get to know her, coffee. I don't drink coffee, but if I go get coffee, it means I'm kind of into it. So I don't like coffee. I'm a cop, don't like coffee. Sorry. So I picked this girl up, and we were gonna go get dinner. And so I pick her up, and she just starts crying as soon as she gets in the car.
Oh my God. That's not
a good sign.
Strike one.
And I don't remember what she was crying about.
Strike one.
Yeah. So I've got her, and I'm like, well, okay. So we're going to go to Outback, I think, because it's not far from Hollywood. But Outback was packed. I'm like, well, crap. I said, okay. So then we went to Los Portales.
Big upgrade.
Los Portales and Jackson's good.
It's good,
It's not the Lopo here.
And she is just talk. And I'm just like, I can't get a word in. And I'm just I'm like, oh my gosh, can someone call me? Can I get out of this? And so then this wasn't good. So then we went to a movie. And it was a movie about a documentary that Clint Eastwood made.
When you know it's bad. When you just go to see a Clint Eastwood documentary.
It was about guys on a train that stopped a shooting. I don't know, but it was awful. And I took her home, and I don't know what
that
that.
sounds
That's
like
it.
A horrible day.
That's it.
All right.
That was it. So yeah, go to the movies if you don't want to talk.
There's
All right.
relationship advice, and is worse than one. So I guess on a similar note then, Ryan, what is the best relationship advice that you could give somebody who's either dating or maybe engaged, maybe even married? I don't know, just relationship advice, friendship advice, whatever it may be.
You took it easy on
This
me.
is easy.
Break up with them.
Oh.
It's cheaper.
Don't do it. No, for real. I wish that I would have just enjoyed my teenage years and not dealt with the baggage. Nothing against the girl or girls I dated, but it was my fault. I did not know who I was, and so I expected other people to be something whenever I didn't even know my likes or interests or whatever. And so I missed out on a lot of good friendships and a lot of good times to hang out because I was worried about impressing a girl, and it just made myself miserable a lot of times. That was unnecessary. So just break up with them. If it's meant to be, then after high school, when you figured yourself out a little bit better, maybe, some of you might be 30, 35, then you can come back to the dating world. But some of you are too immature to handle yourself right now. You can't handle somebody else. So just break up with them so you don't make any mistakes, and just enjoy your friends, because going back to a country song, you're going to miss this.
Yeah.
You have your whole life to be dedicated to one person and sit at home on a Friday night with just you and them. So, and then just throwing this one is free. If you do that and just spend all your time with one person, you do have to have people in your wedding and people to hang out with once you get married, because once you get married, you're there with them 24/7. So, if you don't have friends to hang out with, you're in for a treat. Just wait, trust me. So, yeah.
That was good advice.
Have friends, because if you don't, your wedding's going to be super lame and you're going to have no one to go do fun things with. So.
There we go.
All right. So that's this month's podcast. Thanks for joining in. If you've joined with us the past several months, then thank you. If not, then you have to go back and listen to podcasts 1 through 5. We have some really good stuff. We have some just all right stuff, but we want you to check it out either way. And so this is month 6, February the 1st. Join us again for episode 7, launching on March the 1st. We put out weekly clips on our social media, so you'll have to check that. FBC like students on all of that. Thank you again for joining us for another month. We hope that you have a great month of love and that you don't have any Valentine's fails. We'll see you next month.